Welcome, everyone, to Three Guys, One Music. I'm Jamie, and I'm here with Mike and Grant. And
Hello.
we have a fun topic today of songs that we're not embarrassed to love or guilty pleasures, whatever you want to call it. Um, I imagine everybody has a few of those. But
Yeah.
this, I suggested this, so you can blame me.
It's all your fault.
So, yeah, it's all my
This is
fault.
all your fault, literally. It's all your
All
fault.
on you.
Well, I don't want to say that. Um, I'm not going to take that responsibility. Okay. So we'll talk about what we've been listening to for the last week. Since I've asked you guys the last couple of weeks, I'll go first on that. And I've been listening to the Who Quadrophenia Super Deluxe that has some of the best demos I have ever heard from anybody on any recording.
Wow.
And there's a lot of recordings or songs on that box set that are super good quality songs, and the recordings, like I said, are great. But they just didn't make the final cut for the song tracks. But I would, it's a really satisfying collection of songs. They literally rival the quality of the songs that made the final cut.
Oh, wow.
You know, they were that good.
Yeah.
I also bought the Who's Next Lifehouse collection a few months ago, and although those songs are really good, the quality, although I guess they were 3 years, 2 or 3 years separated in terms of recording, there's huge difference in sound quality. The quality on the Quadrophenia box set, those demos are just amazing. So I recommend checking it out.
I haven't had a chance to listen to that yet, but
It's
I
good.
do have Scoop, which is a collection. I think it's called Scoop, a collection of
Yeah.
Townsend's early demos, and
Right.
he's always made really, really well done demos. So I
Yeah.
imagine he just got better as it went along. So I look
I don't
forward to
know.
hearing.
Yeah, I don't know if they did something special to these and remixing or remastering, but I would say they're quite a bit better than the stuff on Scoop because I've heard of all those volumes, which I think are three, but
Yeah.
they're better than all of those in my estimation, but really good. So
Mhm.
yeah, really good stuff. And been listening to a little bit of a Kiss Alive. I from 75. I sent 2 amps out to get modded this past week, and that's got me in that frame of mind. I'm just listening to guitar tones and records and or recordings, and
Yeah.
trying to figure out how I can narrow down exactly what I want in those amps. So that's what I've been listening to. How about you guys?
Cool. Well, my go-to, if you know me, you know my favorite singer is Otis Redding. And we had a stressful week, and I thought today's an Otis Redding day. So I broke that out, and man, I love it. There's just nothing better than his voice. Listen to no specific album, just put it on shuffle and just by listening to my favorites. These Arms
Yeah.
of Mine,
Yeah.
you know, Otis Redding is the best. Had a good day too, and it was a dance party day in my head. So listening Gossip. Gossip is great. It really is a disco band, but it's a band, and that's what makes it better is that
Right.
you've got people playing real instruments behind it, gives it that grit, a little bit more energy. And Beth Ditto is just an amazing singer. So
Right.
much emotion in everything she sings. That was a lot of fun. What else did I listen to? Oh, I mentioned Walk Away Renee last week, and you said it sounds like the Raspberries. And I was like, who are the Raspberries? So I took
Derek
a little
Harmon.
into that. I heard a little bit, it vaguely sounded like that song, but
Yeah.
I was, thank you for mentioning them because I had no idea who the Raspberries were. And really
Right.
good stuff, especially like Overnight Sensation. That's a good, if I,
Yeah.
that's
I would call them power pop. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
especially from that era.
Good
It's like
stuff.
72
And
or something like that.
yeah, I was reading about them, and I'm surprised how much influence they've had on all kinds of
Right.
different bands. So
Right.
fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. But the things that I don't know their full catalog, but the things that I've heard, I really like. I think they're
Yeah.
very musical.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah.
All right, I actually had to make a list because normally I just listen to 2 or 3 things and I can remember it, but in no particular order.
Mhm.
And these are all albums. Like I said before, I listen to the whole album all the way through, sometimes multiple times at different times.
You're such an overachiever.
Well, I'm sorry.
No doubt.
I'll leave. Reach the Beach, the album by The Fix.
Oh, yeah.
1983.
I love Jamey West-Orham's guitar playing. It's just
Right.
so sparse yet full at the same time.
Yeah.
And let's see, listen to the soundtrack to Monsters Ball by Ash and Spencer, which they were 2 guys that started Ash and Spencer. I think now they're more of a for lack of a better term, a conglomerate that does music for movies and or personal. Like if you had a film and you didn't make music, you could actually contact
right?
them and say, "Give me some music" or whatever. But
wow.
anyway, that is some amazing music. Then Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream. Love that album.
Yeah, good album.
Got that the day it
44.
was released.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Me too. Plus 44, When Your Heart Stops Beating, which is the side project of Mark Hoppus and Travis Barker from Blink-182, which they only made one album. It was when Tom went and made Boxcar Racer.
Right.
And Mark and Travis were like, even though Travis played drums on both of them, it was kind of Tom's solo album and Mark's solo album. And good songs. I always agree with Michael that I wish Travis Barker is a great drummer in my opinion, but his drums could sound so much better.
Get them tuned, dude.
So much better. Listen to The Church, El Momento Descuidado. I'm saying that right. It's a acoustic
What'd
album.
you call me?
Exactly. I called you The Unguarded Moment. It's
Hey.
roughly the translation of The Unguarded Moment, which is a song off the Church's first album. But
Right.
yeah, it's just a acoustic session of a lot of their songs. And Iron Maiden, Somewhere in Time.
1986.
Yeah, fantastic. I love that album. I love that
The
album.
first record that they stopped using tube amps. They were using Galen Kruger amps on that record.
Oh, yeah.
That's my only kind of diss on it. I really like the material for that record, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. The songs are great.
Yeah,
And
the
finally-
next record was also, solid state amps, and it just
was that
it's not the same.
what was the next? That was
Seventh Son of a Seventh Son.
oh yeah, Power Slave was before that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
They got so many albums; it's hard to keep them in order.
Mm.
And then
Not for
finally,
me.
finally, the Interstellar, the soundtrack, Hans Zimmer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's some amazing music. And,
Yeah.
And it's based around pipe organ, which is so weird. I think I remember. I don't know if it was Christopher Nolan that had the idea. Was like, hey, how can we base the whole soundtrack around pipe organ? And Hans was like, I might be out on this one. I'm not sure, but they did it.
wow.
It's that the music is just it's as amazing as the movie is.
Yeah.
And
I've seen the movie, but I haven't really investigated the soundtrack. so
oh my gosh, yeah, you just
I'll
put
have
it
to look
on.
into that.
And
Yeah.
just turn the lights down low, or sit outside and stare at the stars, and
There you
look
go.
away. But anyway, that's my long-winded week
Nice.
of music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very varied. All right. Well, cool. Well, we'll go ahead and get into our today's topic. And again, since I've asked the last couple of weeks to have you guys start, I'll start today. And I had some trouble narrowing this down. I don't know what that says about me, that I have so many songs that many people might be embarrassed by, but I really do like these songs, and I'll try to explain why I like them.
Well, when
There
you
is a
first
reason.
said, when you first said, let's talk about guilty pleasures,
Yeah.
I was like, cool, that'd be great. I can pick out all these songs, and I started thinking maybe I overthink things, but I thought
Right.
I don't really have any guilty pleasures. But you think of guilty pleasure as something you enjoy yourself, hidden from everyone else. man, I'll break out into Broadway tunes at a bar just to see who joins in. I'm not afraid to let you know what I'm listening
Wow.
to. So
Well, that's
it was a
why
lot
I
of fun.
sent you a text explaining
Yeah,
how I frame it. And I
yeah,
think that really does kind of make it easier to put it in perspective. That's how
yeah.
I think about it. You know, hopefully, you know, that helps. I don't know. But well, again, I had to leave out a few things that I really would have liked to have mentioned, and maybe they will get mentioned as honorables. But and I'm doing this in a chronological order. And
Of course
the
you
only
are.
thing that I'm disappointed in myself, and that's not a prerequisite that you guys do this. That's just how my mind works. I know when the dates came out, and that's just how I do it, you know. Um, with the exception of two songs that I'm leaving off, which are 20 years apart, um, the rest of my picks are all within 3 years. And
Wow.
I thought about that only afterwards. I thought, you know, there's several songs that I like
Mine are all
that
over the
I'm
place.
not that, but I'm not that embarrassed by them. They're just kind of kitschy enough, for lack of a better word, that I think that a lot of people probably would say, yeah, I like that. Okay. But these are songs that not that many guys would say, oh, yeah, that's a good song. So that's how I think about it, you know. But these songs are musical and they have something unique to them. But my first choice is going to be Donna Summer MacArthur Park.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. I love that song.
And I, you know, Jimmy Webb wrote that. I mean, not that version, but the
Mhm.
arrangement. I don't know exactly who arranged that, if it was Georgia Moroder or who all had their hand in the pot on that one. But Donna Summer was a fantastic singer. She really had great vocal ability,
Yeah, absolutely.
and she had great pitch. And the arrangement on that song is really good. I always thought the lyrics were kooky,
Yeah,
but I get it. It's just offbeat enough that I understand. But the arrangement on that and how she delivers it is, I think, really amazing. So I've always liked that song. Like I said in my text to Mike, I wouldn't necessarily proclaim that in a bar full of guys having a beer,
Chicken.
but yeah, I guess. But I do like the song. You know, I think it's worthy. I think it's held up well.
Oh yeah. I love that
You
yeah,
know,
song. Like I said.
so you know, I think for musicians, it might be easier for some people to say, yeah, I like that, but your average guy, no way.
Yeah.
So
well,
that's
that's
how.
going to be the version everybody remembers of that song. You know,
Yeah, it's the version, I think. Yeah. Rod McEwen, I would say that no, not Rod McEwen, it was Richard Harris, right?
Richard Harris.
Wasn't Richard Harris the actor? Didn't he have a recording in 68 with that?
Oh man,
Oh goodness. I don't know.
Well, I'll have to
it's
research that.
yeah,
That number just popped into my head and Richard Harris popped into my head, but I think he did a version of that in the late 60s.
Dumbledore sings.
We'll revisit that later. Okay. All right. So that's my number one choice. How about you guys?
Oh, let's see. I'll go with in no particular order. These just came to me. Um, I'm gonna go with our favorite daytime TV doctor, Dr. Noah Drake, aka Rick Springfield. Love is all right tonight. Um, it's from the '80s. I don't know when it was from. I didn't research it. It's just a
Mhm.
fun, feel good song about you're going to go out and you're going to have fun and have a good time. And just, it's written very well.
Mhm.
It's not something, obviously. I mean, Rick Springfield had male fans as well, but obviously
Yeah.
he had more female fans.
Right.
But it's just a fun, to me, summertime song. Like, let's go out and whatever, see what happens, just that type of fun song. And I think if
Right.
it came on at a bar or somebody put it on, a lot of guys would be like, what is this? Rick Springfield, uh, that's what I mean. It's a guilty pleasure. I love Rick Springfield. I think he's had good songs just about his whole career. And
I saw him live.
yeah,
Yeah, when we were in school.
nice.
Tim Pierce played guitar for him through all those glory
Tim
years,
is
and
amazing.
great guitar player, great musician. So, tons of respect for him. I think he brought a lot of validity to the musicianship in that band.
Yeah,
But Rick Springfield has consistently written songs. The records he's come out with the last few years, the music scene is just so different, and the industry's way off balance. But I listened to a record he came out with, I don't know how many years ago. It was solid. Those songs were solid. I mean, if it was a different era, it would have been successful.
And he's 74 now, I believe.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
his first album was in Australia in 71 or 72, I think.
I think that's right.
His solo album. He was with a band before that, but you just don't think about him like he's 74. Oh my God, you know what I mean? But anyway,
1981 was 43 years ago.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
right. Jesse's Girl was his first hit right out of the box.
Yeah. Anyway, so
and that was number one. I think that was number one almost exactly to the week. 43 years ago.
Probably was.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
good one.
How about
All
you,
right.
Mike?
Well, like I said, I struggled with this more than I thought I would, and I probably overthought it. But I guess I made my list for people who may be surprised that I listened to this, even though you guys know, and everybody who knows me knows I listen to all kinds of wacky stuff.
I'm not surprised.
I know you won't be surprised today at all. Sam Smith, Writing on the Wall.
Yeah.
The theme from the James Bond film Spectre was the first time I really paid attention to them. You hear those tunes on the radio, and I respected it, but didn't really hit home until I heard him sing that song. And what an amazing voice. Is very haunting and emotional with that falsetto. I don't know if you know that song, but that made me stand up and take notice. And, that's when I got to look at my notes because I don't know the names of any of his songs, but I love Sam Smith. Stay With Me. I'm Not the Only One. He's got just a tremendous voice, and I'll listen to them all day long.
Well, this is what's interesting. There's another James Bond theme that's going to come up.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. So imagine that. 2 James Bond themes.
I skipped the James Bond theme. Actually,
is Tom Jones involved? Because
no.
Okay, I'm not on board.
Very tempting though. I love Thunderball, but
Tom Jones, that's a great song. Cheesy as well, but I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my second choice is I don't know how this again, I have to frame this as in terms if I was with a bunch of dudes and I was wanting to say, hey, put on a song on the jukebox. I don't think I would probably choose this song, but in private, it's a fantastic song. Robert John Sad Eyes from 1979.
Oh wow, yeah.
It's just not something that I'm gonna shout out at the top of my lungs. That's a great song. I love it. But
get on the table.
That is a great song, though.
It's a great song. The lyrics are powerful and it's just vulnerable. And I don't know. I can't be objective about it. I don't know if a non-musician would appreciate it in the same way. Maybe they wouldn't. They would just look at it as I don't know. I only know how to view it through my eyes.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that I think nobody can really answer. I don't know that many guys that probably love that song that don't play an instrument. But as a musician,
or probably
looking at it from
that song that don't play an instrument,
Well, it's.
I mean, I wonder how many people write in. I mean, comment if you don't know this song.
That song was on the radio all the time, and I was neither here nor there about it. But my mom loved it, and my mom played a lot, so it became a favorite song of mine just through hearing it so much. It's very hummable, it's a great song. Yeah, good choice.
Cool. All right. All right. Well, Grant, you're up.
Alrighty, I'm gonna go with another '80s band. A song called "Sweet Dreams," but not the sweet dreams you're thinking of. These are the sweet dreams from two fellows from Australia by the name of Air Supply.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not a huge Air Supply fan. I don't think I ever bought any Air Supply.
I'm
because-
about to turn my shoulder to you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not a fan.
No, I'm a fan. I just
Oh
mean
my
I'm
gosh.
not a fan that went out and bought all the albums.
You can borrow mine.
Okay, thank you. But you cannot deny their vocals and the harmonies are just straight up amazing. And this is before any kind of, I mean, this is back in the day when you had to be able to sing. You know, you couldn't disguise it if you flubbed up or if you were pitchy dog or anything like that. You know, you really had to sing. But anyway, this song it's almost like a mini prog song because it starts out with almost a minute of very dark, ominous sounding music. It's just tones. It's just little keyboards. Then it starts out with acoustic guitar and they're singing, and then everything comes in and there's a cool harmonized guitar riff in there, and then there's a chorus, and then there's a different section. There's a little mini solo, and then there's another guitar solo, and there's another section. So it's almost like a mini prog song by what was considered a fluffy pop band, you know, at the time.
Right.
And it's just a really cool song and very listenable because of, like I said, all the different parts are interesting from a musical standpoint. And
Right.
and again, when their harmonies kick in, it's just like, wow, these guys, you know, I didn't appreciate it when I was young and they were around. And
Right.
like, oh, it's just Air Supply, you know, it's popular, whatever. Chicks like it. Okay. You know,
Chicks, man.
chicks,
I
man.
purchased some Air Supply. And the reason I even purchased it wasn't that this is hard for some people to appreciate, but I make a lot of playlists. And all of the songs that I put on playlist, I purchase. And I do that for a couple of reasons. I do it to support the artist. I don't have any problem with streaming. I do stream some, but I know it's very expensive to buy a song versus monthly membership and be able to listen to something. I get it. But the sound quality isn't quite what I want to hear, you know, when I'm in the car, especially. So I buy my music, you know, largely. And I bought some songs by them to complete a playlist. And the playlist that I make sometimes, it wouldn't necessarily be all the songs that I like, but they wouldn't be complete if I don't include those. You know, there may be some questionable things on there for my taste. So I know most people can't understand. It's like, well, why would you put something on if you don't like it? I was like, well, that's just the way I think about it. If I were to look at a Billboard chart from a year, I probably don't like everything on that chart, but those are all the top hits.
Right.
So if I'm going to be a completist and accurate, I need to put the songs on that playlist that were from that period of time, because it's not just about me that I'm playing the music for necessarily, because I do it at work sometimes. So that's why I buy that. But there was a song by them called Even the Nights Are Better.
Oh yeah.
And one of our mutual friends, I remember playing that or posting it, and they didn't have any kind things to say about it. But the thing I liked about it was the modulation in it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't necessarily the vocal delivery or even the song itself. It was just a great modulation, and it really turned me on. And I thought, this is kind of cool. So I try to find something in a song that is really noteworthy, you know, whatever it is. You know, and that just happened to be in that particular song. I don't listen to them on any regular basis, but I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah,
you know?
same.
I think they were huge.
Oh yeah, they were gigantic. Yeah.
Yeah. So
like I said, it was just, and at the time, even though I listened to all kind of things, I didn't have that appreciation. Like I couldn't just like we've talked about before, you can just take one thing from a song and appreciate it, even if it's not even your favorite song. You know,
Right.
I wasn't even thinking about appreciating the vocal quality or their harmonies or anything like that. I just like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, you know,
Right.
let me change the station back then, you know.
Right.
Sometimes I would listen to it and go, okay, it's all right, but it's not my cup of tea. You know, not something I want to put on.
Well, I don't want to go too far into this, but it just occurred to me that your average person probably listens to music how we did when we were really young and we had uneducated ears.
Yeah.
And that's not a condemnation of anybody who is not musically educated, but once you have, now again, that doesn't mean that my taste is the taste that everybody has to have, but does that make sense? That if somebody has no clue about what makes something good,
They might not even recognize a part
that's
that
that's
is
the
good.
way we were when we were young.
Yeah.
We didn't listen to things in a certain way like that. So it makes me, and again, I'm sure there are probably going to be some people go, "How dare you?" You know, I'm musically educated and I still don't like it, and I understand. I would almost bet you that I'm going to hear that.
How
But
dare you?
I, you know, I that's the way I think about it. It doesn't mean that I'm right. I just think that typically somebody who doesn't have any musical, you know, I don't know, education is the only word that comes to me, that can appreciate something on some level. It doesn't mean that they have to shout at the top of their lungs, "This is amazing. I love this song," but there's something cool about it. It's got something worthwhile.
Yeah.
But you know, when you, I don't know, that's how I think about it. So I would love to hear what other people have to think about or have to say about that in the comments. If anybody has an opinion, I would love to know what they think, but that's how I view to think about it.
All right.
Cool.
All right.
Well, interesting to bring up Air Supply because before Celine Dion made it so famous, Power of Love was recorded by Air Supply
Oh,
and also by the artist I want to talk about, Laura Branigan, which, you know, she didn't have a lot of hits you can name, but beyond, I just proved the point. What's the name of that damn song?
was it Gloria?
It's,
Gloria?
Wasn't Gloria her big
Self-Control.
claim to fame?
I keep wanting to call that something else, but Self-Control was her other hit. But Gloria is an outstanding song, and I will dial it up and listen to it. You know, she, you can compare her to Celine Dion since they made the same song, recorded the same song. She may not have the vocal range, but she's got such power. She's got such a body to her voice, or unfortunately she had. She passed in her 50s. But Laura Branigan was just a great vocalist, a great singer. And that song, it's just recently. I just started. I heard it once in a 70s or 80s playlist, and I had to hear it again. It just struck me somehow. It's just an amazing performance. Her voice is standout, special.
Laura Branigan, she definitely had power, and I think the way you described it is accurate. She didn't have a lot of range, but she had a power in her voice.
Yeah. I mean, she had a good range. She wasn't. It wasn't crazy like some artists today, but she had a good range and an amazing, powerful voice.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to pull an audible here. You mentioned something after I told you that there's going to be a John Barry song.
Oh, John Barry.
You might not do that one because there's another song that means a lot to me for a different reason. And I really do love it. And it's, in order for it to be in chronological order, I have to go ahead and mention it.
You got to keep it in order.
Well, that's how I am. Bette Midler, The Rose.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll tell you why. As a kid, I couldn't stand it. I didn't see any value in it, and it was just mush to me. But my mom really loved Roses, and she liked that song when it was on the radio. And then when I listen to the lyrics, how powerful those lyrics are and simple that song is, but was pretty powerful. And my mom passed away, you know, several years ago, but at her wake, we kind of included something about roses because she loved roses. And I always associate her with that song. So when I hear that song, it makes me think of her. So that's not something that I wouldn't even try to defend it. I mean, I just like it, and I don't really mind who knows it, But I don't know if it I would say that probably qualifies as a guilty pleasure for a
Yeah.
lot of people, but that's a powerful song for me, and it's just sentimental as much as it is musical. But I do think musically it holds up. I think it really is worthy of a song
yeah.
that survived.
I immediately like that song, and for
Yeah.
the reason that, like we've discussed before, I'm for lack of a better term, I'm more into lyrics than you are at first. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
And that's what got me. I was listening to the lyrics, and then obviously the melody and everything that goes with it
Right.
makes it more powerful. But even as a kid, I was listening to it like, oh, this is amazing. Even though
Yeah.
not understanding, the adult meanings behind everything, because you're too young to understand that stuff at the time.
Yeah,
But,
and if you want to get really heavy about life and deep, that song is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
But we're not all going to stick around. We're not going to stick around forever. And just how life works, it's pretty powerful. So
Yeah, that was a big song that came out, and
yeah,
again, I was neither here nor there on that song. You hear it all the time, but I can certainly appreciate it now. It
Yeah.
is a great song.
what year was that, Jamie?
79.
I was
Okay.
going to say 79.
I was
Yeah.
going to say 8, but
I would
9.
have pulled that out of a hat, but I was going to say that.
I'm pretty sure it came out in 79. The movie, of course, was filmed in 78, and it could have come out in late 78. That I'm not sure about, but I remember hearing it in 79, and that's
Yeah,
how
I
I
think 79 is
associate
right.
those. So I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah, I almost hate to give up my James Bond pick, but that one was more important to me. So,
Yeah.
like I said, this was hard. This was really hard for me to narrow it. And oddly, that wasn't even on my list, which is crazy. But something that Mike said made me think of it. I thought, oops, yep,
Good job.
I missed that one. That's got to come. So,
Yeah.
I'm here for you.
okay, it's good. All right, Grant.
I'm going to go with from 1985, a band that not many guys were into at the time, a little band called Aha.
Yeah.
And this
I
is
knew this is what you were going to say. I knew.
Oh, did you? Did you? That's funny. But not the song most people think of. This is the title track from their first album, Hunting High and Low, which is an amazing song. His voice, I don't even care if you hate Aha. You can't say that
Right.
the man cannot sing and put notes
Right.
in the air. I mean, it's just amazing. And I liked them from the first. I like I said, I was unabashed. If nobody else liked it, if I like it, I like it. I can listen to Led Zeppelin and Aha in the same
Right.
hour. It doesn't matter.
His name is what? Morton Harkett?
Morton,
or
yeah,
Harkett?
Morton, yeah.
I have a song that I'm going to mention, and whenever you're finished, that he sings that it's not a Aha song, but he's the vocalist on it, and it's the real deal.
Yeah, and it's funny because most they play Take on Me all the time, and people that's what they're known for in America. And it's so funny to me when you mention anything about Aha, and they're like, oh, or a DJ, an ignorant DJ will be like, oh, they're one hit wonder where they are now. Well, they're in the rest of the world making albums and touring like they have been for the past 40 years, dude. Look up, use the internet to your advantage, dude, before you get on here and sound stupid. But yeah, I mean, and they've been consistent. I have most of their albums. Always been a fan.
Wow.
There's a couple of albums that are, and everybody goes through this when it's hard to be 100% all the time, but even on the albums that aren't the best, there's still a handful of really good songs, you know.
Right.
And but yeah, that's just a really good. If you've never heard that song, people go listen to it. Hunting High and Low. It's a very starts off very low key, and then it just builds and builds and builds and builds. And
I'm gonna look that one up.
he's
I don't know
his,
that I know that song.
his vocals at the near the end are just like I said. He starts off from almost not a whisper, but a very very quiet vocal, and that
Right.
emotion that it just builds and builds until the end. He's almost for him almost it would be screaming. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
it's very very powerful, I believe. And like I said, if Aha comes on, most guys are not going to be like, I love
True.
this song.
Right.
But,
Well, yeah, I don't have an issue with Aha because I think we discussed in communications that writing a song is hard. A good song.
Yeah.
And something that survives in the industry, whether you like it or not, it's real easy to diss something, you know, whenever you haven't done it. I've never written a song that is worthy of lasting for 40 years. They did, you know. So that's how I think about it. You know, somebody that's actually done the work and they deserve the credit for what they did, even if it was a one-hit wonder.
for sure.
I'd rather have one hit than no hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like they were one
You
hit
know?
wonder here. Maybe
Right.
they had a couple of
Right.
songs after that, but not huge. But then,
Right.
you know, America forgot about them because America moves on to whatever,
Right.
you know, cultural thing is fun now. But, you know, they've had a solid career. You know,
They're
never
from
had-
Norway, right?
yeah, they never
Norway.
had to get other jobs. They always made records
Right.
and toured the whole rest of the world, you know. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of bands like that from Europe
Mhm.
that, you know, they had one or two hits in America, and then, you know, most Americans don't even realize they've continued on with their career for, like I said, 30, 40 years.
You know, it's this is off subject, but it's funny that Morton seems to be a pretty popular name over in that part of the country. And in Minneapolis, when I lived there, Morton Steakhouse is a pretty well-known place. And I wonder, because there's so many, you know, Scandinavian, you know,
Descendants, yeah,
so much, descendants and the culture there. I wonder if that's part of that. But yeah, Morton is a pretty common name over
was
in
it
that
spelled
part
the
of
same with an
Scandinavia.
E-N? Or was it O-N?
I think it's O-N.
I think his name is E-N.
Is it E-N?
I think I
Well,
believe so. But either way, you know,
I
they
couldn't
change
say.
spellings, you know, when they
Right.
Americanize names sometimes.
Well, I hadn't even thought about him or Aha for that matter. But I don't remember what made me buy it. I don't recall that, but there's a version of Can't Take My Eyes Off of You, the Frankie Valli song,
oh, wow.
that he sang on the Coneheads soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
That is fantastic. And I keep it in a playlist. It's that good. I mean, it's totally legitimate. He doesn't deviate. He sings it pretty much the way it was on the original recording. It's just better recorded. That's the only thing about that song, the original 1967 version, the recording that I have. It just doesn't seem, it just is not good.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the sound quality of it, not the recording itself, but I don't know if there's a better version out there, but I can't come across one. But that's one of my favorite songs of my lifetime.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Can't Take My Eyes Off You is pretty amazing musically. You know, I think it's a really good song, but he totally legitimized his performance on that song. It's the real deal. So it's good. So if you haven't heard his version of it, Conehead soundtrack, it's
I'll
good.
check it out. I'll check it out.
I think it's just him. I don't think it's certainly that's who it's credited to. It doesn't say anything about a Hob, but it's really good.
I think the fact that it's on the Coneheads soundtrack is why it passed us by. So we'll have to
I
check
think you
it out.
might be right about that.
Multiple
But you know, then
times, but
again,
I don't
Soda
remember the
Squeeze
song.
by the Red Hot Chili Peppers are on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the best, that's one of their best songs. You know, not to go off too deep a tangent, but why was that not on Blood Sugar Sex Magic? That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's one of the best songs they recorded during those sessions, and they didn't put it on that. That's crazy to me. Anyway, yeah. All right. Well, Mike, are you up?
Okay,
Microphone.
so I want to borrow those AHA albums when you come and pick up my Air Supply.
Okay,
We'll
sure.
we'll trade off for the week. This again, this was a hard decision for me because
Yeah.
I ain't afraid of telling you about nothing I listen to. I heard someone talking about Neil Sedaka last week, and I thought maybe I should bring that out. Great songwriter, and I think I told you I was. I was when I was listening to the Raspberries, I got into a deep hole, and I thought that one song could use a bossa nova beat, so I started looking at bossa nova and other Latin and Afro beat, Cuban beats and stuff, and I started listening to Babatunde Alatunji all night. I've got 2 CDs, but I was just playing it late into the evening. But guilty pleasures, if you want to be surprised, and I'm not trying to go off the rails like last week, but Veggie Tunes from the Veggie Tales TV show.
Oh, we're off the rails now.
When your kids are young, you want to find something that they can listen to and you can enjoy too. And no specific song, but all those, if you're familiar with Veggie Tales, the silly songs with Larry and the pirates who don't do anything and that kind of stuff. It's clever lyrics, very imaginative music. You get to hear all kinds of stuff, not just show tune kind of songs, but calypso and reggae and all kinds of stuff. But it's just fun stuff, and you find yourself singing along. And as soon as I said Veggie Tales, maybe someone out there too is singing "Where is my hairbrush?" Just it's catchy, it's silly, it's just a lot of fun. Veggie Tunes albums 1 and 2, the whole thing, the whole albums.
I think guys that make music for kids shows would go crazy if they had to make songs just for kids, like so simple that they can't enjoy it themselves. So like you're saying, I think they put those beats in there, they put these things in there, they do different styles to make it interesting for them as well to write it. So they don't get like just numb and like, oh my gosh, I have to do this again.
I think those kids songs that stand out like that are really someone clever, just lets it flow. You can go anywhere singing about your hairbrush.
Yeah, there's no restrictions.
The Veggie Tales love song about a cheeseburger. How
I do love cheeseburgers.
Yes, the pirates who don't do anything but lie around all day.
It's not a
silly stuff.
Way to be a pirate.
Great, clever lyrics and just a lot of fun stuff.
Band of Horses has a song called "Out in Nature" that's on a kids soundtrack of some sort. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah,
and that's a cool little catchy song, but it's totally for kids. But it's good. I mean, it's well written. I don't know if they wrote it, or I don't know if it's. I've never heard it before that I can recall, but it's catchy.
Yeah. When the kids are young, you really are looking for stuff. Right. When they're still in diapers, you can play whatever because they're not going to remember or maybe listen to it. My son listened to a lot of Cranberries in the minivan. But when they start singing along, you got to find something appropriate. So they listen to a lot of They Might Be Giants, besides Veggie Tales and other stuff like that. So it's trying to be a responsible parent, finding stuff that they can listen to and you can listen to and enjoy also. And Veggie Tunes is right up there.
Nice. Yeah, it's those type of I've heard some stuff. I think the Backyardigans.
Yeah. I'm glad my kids were a little older before I had to listen to that.
Well, I didn't.
But again, if I
was around it, I was around it through a. Well, I won't talk about it. I'll leave it alone.
Careful.
Yeah, I'll leave it alone.
If we had to at the time, we'd be into it. But
yeah,
I'm glad my kids are grown.
Right. Okay. Well, my next pick is something that I've mentioned this before. I can remember being in Arizona Um, and I think I posted something on social media, and I'm sure you won't remember this, but it was one of the songs that I mentioned, and I remember somebody said, "Oh my God," you know, it's
Oh,
a song that, and it's due to the songwriting. It's got nothing to do about the message or anything, and it's but the vocal delivery I think is very good. But the guy who wrote this song, I think his name is John Farrar, and he wrote basically all the songs for this artist, and that is Olivia Newton-John, and this is from the Xanadu soundtrack. The song is called "Suddenly."
Mhm.
Cliff Richard sang it, and I liked that song as a kid, and I didn't listen to it for a long, long time. And then when I reheard it, it made me feel a certain way. It just it's the modulation. I think that's the thing about a lot of songs that really affect me. And I at the time I couldn't tell you what I like about it. Again, it's got nothing to do with the lyrics. It's got nothing to do with, but it's just well written, as a melody and as arrangement. But I don't know if either one of you have heard that song in a long time, but I think it holds up.
yeah, it's been maybe a couple years.
I think it's good. I mean, she had also Magic from that same soundtrack, I think.
Yeah.
And that song is more, it's not quite as soft as Suddenly, but Suddenly it's
that's
got
like the heaviest Olivia Newton-John ever got.
yeah, Suddenly. And I've got another song that is probably the cherry on the top that people are going to shake their heads, but I'll explain why I like it.
Well,
But
yeah, Xanadu's a good pop album.
Yeah. Jeff Lynne was pretty much the driving force behind that record as a whole, wasn't he?
Yeah, the movie was terrible, but the soundtrack was really good.
Yeah. Well, Suddenly, that's my fourth choice. So I'm expecting the daggers.
Not from us.
Not from me.
No, man.
Let's see. I got 3 left. I gotta pick one out of here. I'm gonna go with a more modern choice. I don't know if either of you have heard this song, but it's by a young female artist by the name of Doja Cat.
Oh my goodness.
I have heard of her.
And the song is called Moo. Have you heard that song?
I have heard that song.
That is an amazing, amazing song on so many levels. I can see Jamey's confusion here.
No, I know who she is, but I don't know the song.
Listen to it later sometime. It's a sarcastic song. It's a song of a woman taking something used in a pejorative way against women and taking it back and making it their own, speaking as their as in women. And I've got 2 songs on here that I'm trying to not get too political or whatever about, because that's not what it's about. But just taking back a pejorative term sometimes used by idiots out there to describe women or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's just a fantastic song. And you need
fantastic.
Yeah, okay. It's double fantastic. And shout out to Strawberry Shortcakes. If you ever see this, thank you for turning me onto that song. That's someone from a whole nother stream. But she did it on a karaoke stream, and us guys were all like, what is this she's doing? It's amazing. Did she write this? I have no idea what this is. But anyway, check it out. It's amazing. And I'm not ashamed to say I like anything, but I'm definitely not ashamed to say I like that. And I would say to any guy that doesn't like that, well, she's talking about you. That's why you don't like it, buddy. But
okay.
Anyway, that's one of my choices.
Don't know it.
Yeah, okay. Check it out. You'll be surprised.
My daughter will be very impressed that you chose a Doja Cat song.
Cool. Don't tell her.
Okay. I guess my next choice is going to be the song that introduced me to this band. Unfortunately, they're not around anymore. Honey, Honey, the song, Don't Know How. That song just really struck me at the time. Honey Honey's an Americana band, or was an Americana band. It's just two people, Suzanne Santo and Ben Jaffe. Um, and I love that band so much after that song. They only have 3 albums, and I went out and bought all 3 of them. My wife thought, "What is happening to you? This is not the music you listen to." But
I didn't marry you for this music.
yeah, I tortured her with that soundtrack too. But it's the only band I can think of that I went to see twice in 1 year. They played Chapel Hill, and I found out they were playing Saxapaw, and I'm like, "We're going," and we went and had a great time both times. But Don't Know How is a really great song. All 3 of their albums are really good. They get progressively better.
Right.
You know, the more you listen to them in live, just the 2 of them. They added a drummer, and they sound so much better live. Not so much better, but they do sound better. If they had put out a live album, it would probably be the best sounding album they made. But
Wow.
yeah, Honey Honey, Don't Know How, one of my favorite songs ever.
Okay. I don't know that one either. I'll look into that. If you think about sending links to me privately, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be a difficult last choice for me, in the sense that I know that I'm going to have a lot of people like put their face in their hands.
I'm getting ready.
Yeah, it's that bad. But I'll tell you why I like it. And I had not heard this song. And again, the reason I even got this song was as a completist. It was a hit during this year. When I put playlists together, I don't always think about every song that's included in that period. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh God, that was a big song. So I have to buy it. And had what I remember thinking as a kid, this song came out in 1981. I was like, ugh, you know, this is pretty tough. I did not like anything about it as a kid. I didn't think I did, but the vocal delivery on it is, the arrangement is what makes it for me. And that song is Endless Love by Lionel Richie and Diana Ross.
I'm not putting my hands. It's a fine song.
You know, it's probably been much maligned. I don't think that song is played. I wouldn't imagine it's played very often, even in adult radio or whatever. I don't think it survived really. But it's toward the end of the song, whenever they start, it gets more powerful.
Yeah, crescendo. Yeah.
God, you know, it's pretty great. And whenever I heard that, that's been the difference maker in a lot of songs for me. Now, am I going to sit around and listen to that? No, probably not. You know, not on any regular basis. But I like it, you know. You have to be in a certain mood to listen to some of these things, you know.
Yeah.
But if you know, and also if you haven't heard it in 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, it comes on the radio and you're like, wow, I'm going to listen to this because I just haven't heard it in a long, long time.
I bet it had been 30 years since I'd heard it. I hadn't gone out of my way to check it out, believe me. Not something I was even remotely interested in. But when I heard it again, I thought, oh man, this is it. What it did, it reminded me. Now, this is also unique to my experience, maybe. You know, I worked in a record store when I was a kid, and I listened to these songs that I wouldn't have chosen to listen to. The person who ran that store used to make top 40 cassettes that he had 2 turntables, and he would fade them into each other, and you would listen to the top 40. He did that usually once a month. And I would listen to all these songs, you know, that were, you know, out there. and I'm sure that contributed to them selling records, 45s at least. But I heard all these songs that I wouldn't have listened to otherwise, and I remember hearing that song a lot. I got turned on to so much music, as I've mentioned, in the past. I got turned on to a lot of things that there's no way I would have gotten turned on to otherwise. And I'm always appreciative of that and grateful for it. But I heard that song a lot, and there's a certain, part of that song where the vocal is pretty powerful. And when I heard that song, whenever that was, I don't know, a couple of years ago, it just took me back to that period of time. And I thought, God, I remember how I felt when I heard that. I didn't know. I don't think I remember telling myself, oh, I love this. This is great. I never bought it, but those type of things affect me, modulations and the vocal passion or whatever you want to call it. So that's one of those songs that, it's not number one on my list, but it's in a chronological order. That's one of the songs that I would say is pretty much a guilty pleasure. But in I don't know, limited doses. I wouldn't listen to that on any regular basis.
Every leap year.
Yeah, there you go. I'll go with that one.
Every other leap year.
The Olympics are coming. It's time to hear that song.